Hello friends, welcome to my channel SushantChessWise. Today we are at the next topic of our King's Indian Defense series, and today we are going to discuss the Samisch variation. So let's get started quickly with the key position. So we reach the position after the moves d4, nf6, c4, g6, nc3, bg7, e4, d6, f3, castle. See, white's idea, as you can see from these arrows, is to go bishop e3, queen d2, h4, h5. Castle is sometimes delayed or white plays castle quickly. So be3, nc6. The line which we are choosing involves nc6, then a6, after qd2, a6, and black wants the move either b5 or e5 to come up very quickly. So white here first goes with h4. Many options are there out here, but we will prefer the move h5. It will delay g4 for some time. And here, firstly, if castle is played instantly, then see b5, cb, ab, and after, of course, knight b5, rook a2, black is better. Easily we can sense that. But after bb5, here there is nb4, or even better the move na5. See, the knight is eyeing these two, b3 and the c4 squares. So see, after ne2, ba6, we want the trade of bishop, and after takes, see, so many set of squares, b3, c4, 8, b8. As you can see from the arrows, the plan is evident. So black looks somewhat better here. So let's go back to the main position. White plays ne2. ne2 is the main move here, and to which black plays rook b8. We are now all set to carry both the plans. One is b5 and other is e5. White has here main options in the form of long castle, which will be considered in the next lesson, and other three we will look at today. There is knight c1, there is bh6, and there is the move nd5. One by one, let's see. Most obvious is the move bishop h6. Queen wants to come to h6 and white wants to play g4. The line we are choosing involves bh6, queen h6. Looks very risky at first, but see, after e5, very obvious move. Now d5 and long castle are two options. Let me show you. If d5, then nd4, long castle, c5. This is a very standard practice to sacrifice on d4. dc, bc, nd4, ed, rook d4. There comes the stunning move, rook b2. This is often the case because we are trying to exploit these two squares. Instant qb6 would allow the queen to come to d2. So rook b2, kb2, queen check, knight b5. White manages to save the rook, but see, after ab5, queen d2, bc4 check, king a1, d5. See, black has one pawn for the exchange, but look at the plan here. This bishop is heading to e6 and the rook is coming to b8 square mainly, sometimes a8 also. And knight and one pawn for rook here compensates well. Thus after e5, white can go instant castle, to which b5, g4. This line is feared by many, but see how nicely black repulses everything. He takes bg4, first pawn for the bishop, then the second one with ng4, queen is driven back, and see here, bc is there, ed is there, and see, knight f2, good move. h1 rook is hanging, rook is compelled to move, and after nd1, qd1, here bc is also very interesting, but we should not allow nd5. So ed, nd4, nd4, qd4, c6, very important move. We stopped this nd5. The knight from d5 was eyeing f6, so that we stopped. And as you can see, black has the plan of b4 followed by queen going to a5. So this will be good position for black. So the bh6 move is completed. Let's move to the next one, which is the move nd5. Another interesting attempt. Now black goes b5. Very obvious way to play. cb, ab, rook c1, bd7 forces black to defend the knight on c6, and now white does nf6. Both ef and bf6 are possible, but we are going to discuss the move bf6 more natural. Black wants see instant break with e5, and in some cases h4 will be weak. So g4, very obvious way. See, the play becomes very sharp. H takes g, and now after h5, black has e5. This looks bit dangerous, but see, still white is not fully ready. So after d5, there comes gf3, dc, fe2, queen e2, be6, and there is a lot of fear that many players tell me that, sir, see, g6 is weak, queen is coming to h2, what to do? But see, black will mostly have the move g5 in most cases. Okay, we will see that. After, let's say, hg, the first problematic thing, fg, queen g2, there is the very strong bishop h4 check. This is stronger than g5. And after king moves just kg7, rook g1 is met by queen f6. See, black stands firmly here, nothing is happening. See, because basically you can see only two attackers. Black has enough defenders, rook, queen, bishop. This bishop can become attacker, this rook can turn to 8. So this position looks, see, quite decent. Even the white king is not very safe. So the play is very sharp and imbalanced. And direct qg2 is there. To direct qg2, there is the move g5. Very important move. Now see, h7 looks like a very nice spot for the black king. Okay, and black will often try to break the position, see, with d5, and white king is not feeling very safe. So this was about h5. Let's see, instead of h5, the option is to go here, f takes g4, and now we will go with e5. Useful move, d5. The variations are, see, highly forced, and we have to know a lot of stuff properly. nd4, nd4, ed. Of course, bg5, not bd4, because rook e8 or bg4, both are very strong. I like bg4 a bit. And now see, if bishop comes to g2, we can do rook e8 also, but we can wait also. So this position is good. See, h4 is hanging. Mainly h4 is weak. Bishop can drop back to h5. Thus, white prefers the move bg5. After bg5 comes rook e8, queen f4, almost forced, protecting g5 and e4. And now see, be5. All these moves are forced and very important. We have to remember some stuff here. Queen f3. And now see, first we drive the bishop back with f6, bd2, and the good move qc8. Why? We have denied this f6 square to the queen or the bishop, both of them. And see, now g4 is weak. Maybe rook g1 is necessary, but then the h file cannot be opened. And if g5, then bg4, first drive the queen back and see f5. Look at the white king. Definitely far more unsafe as compared to the black king on g8. Now see, e file is also, you can see, getting opened by force. So this should be winning for black almost. So this was about the move nd5 here. Let's go to the other main line, which is knight c1. This is considered to be the main move, this or the long castle. One of them is, you can say, they are the main lines. As per the latest developments and opening theory, the lines tend to become more or less important. So now e5, most obvious. By now we know e5 or b5. One thing will be there. Of course, d5 and d4. Here both knight, this knight coming to e2 and b3. They actually transpose for us, because to both cases we will place e5, dc, bc, sack the pawn on d4, and here see rook e8. Look at black. From the arrows you can make up b2 is weakness, right? And the queen is the a5 square. See, these are the important points, and black wants d5. So see, be2, stopping, trying to stop d5. Still d5, c takes d5, and see rook b4. This was the important novelty. And now see, bishop has some moves. We will cover 3 moves here, which look very obvious. And see, after e5, this is the worst one. Looks good, but nd5, nd5. See, the rook on b4 is hanging, but black is counting on rook d4, qd4. Either be5 or the move c takes d5. Both are great. See, after be5, queen has to go back and cd5. We have not played bg3 check on purpose, because see, castle is blunder. Castle will allow queen to take on h4. and f4 is bad because after bf6, see, now h4 is really weak. This rook is opened, means bg4 is also a threat. So f4 we were trying to provoke the opponent into. Okay, so let's go back. The main move is either bc5 or bf2. bc5 happened in the game, so let's explore bishop f2 first. Bishop f2 is more slower attempt. It obviously tries to stop the impact of rook b2 sack. So here comes cd first. Now see, ed is there. nd5 won't work, of course, because b2 will be taken. Ed still c, nd5. If knight takes d5, rb2, this idea will happen time and again. We will take on e2 and then take d5. So this is gone. So rook d1 forced, rook b2, qb2, bishop check, queen takes, knight takes, rook d8, rook d8. Position looks decent, right? But it's not good for white. Practically, it's too bad. a2 can't be protected. There is no bc4 because rd1 mates. And see the threat. re8 you can see. Rook is coming here to use the pin. So what to do? Pawn has to be given up. Okay. So this is maybe bb6 is necessary. But that will give the rook entry onto the 7th rank. After cbb6, re8, kd2, re2 check, we get a2 and the g2 pawns. So although opposite colored bishops are there, they won't be very easy for white. So white goes bc5 in the game. After bc5 comes c, knight e4. This was the point. This rook eyes the e4 square as well. So after fe, of course, knight e4 we know by now. Rook b2 is winning. Next move is c, cd5. So e2 will come under fire. And see, even this bishop is eyeing on the whole diagonal here. Okay, so fe, bishop takes c3, queen takes c3, re4, e2 is gone, but white is still fine. Castle, rook e2, and here d takes c6. Computers prefer this after qh4, but it's very unclear position. It's very difficult to say who is better, but practical chances are not at all worse for black. See, black has this plan coming up, deadly one, bishop coming to d5, and c8 is very nicely guarded by bishop and rook. So this pawn is not queening too quickly, right? So rook d1 was played in the game, to which cd, queen f3, attacking d5 and f7 both, bishop f5, rook d5, qh4, rook d4. We are following a game, by the way. qg5, rook b4, a5, rook b5, and here black missed the winning move, qd2. Why winning? See, the point is that b2 is coming under fire, and mainly what is the threat? Threat is re1. This is little difficult to understand at first. But do note that if we play any move like a4 or rook moves, then what happens? Then rook e1, and see, it's very difficult to stop rook takes a1, f1. We are creating a mating net here. So rook e1, kh2, queen c1. See the deadly idea. We are threatening rook h1 and queen g5. Okay, g3, queen check, kf2. King seems safe, but rook c1. See the power of these opposite bishops here. It's like having an extra bishop in this position. And see, rook c2 is a major threat for black. So this is winning for black actually. And after bf2, stopping re1, there is the move rook e4. Deadly. See the plan. This rook is heading to g4 and the bishop wants to come to this e4 square. This g2 is weak and it's very difficult for white to free himself. The queen is also somewhat stuck. Meanwhile, see, there are no back rank issues. You will note that black king is not that unsafe here, which it looks like. So you saw lines are deep. We have to know really some serious stuff. That is what happens in any Indian defense, be it Nimzo Indian, Benoni, Benko, Grunfeld, whichever main line we talk about. Detailed theory has to be known because opponent also has lot of options. But that is a good part of any main line. Our understanding improves and we rely and try to improve our game with it. So I hope you will like this lesson. Definitely let me know in the comments below. Thanks for your time.